Hear the sledges with the bells, silver bells. What a world of merriment their melody foretells. How they tinkle, tinkle, tinkle in the icy air of night, while the stars that oversprinkle all the heavens seem to twinkle. With the crystalline delight, keeping time, 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 in a sort of runic rhyme, to the tin-tin-a-bulletin that so musically wells from the bells, 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 bells. Bells, 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 from the jingling and the tinkling of the bells. Hello, everyone. My name is Edgar Allen Poe. I decided that I wanted to share with everyone who I am, and basically, this is going to be a biography about my life. So, let's start on the day that I was born. I was born January 19th on 1809. I was born in Boston, Massachusetts, and my parents, supposedly my dad had left me when I was young. My mother, Elizabeth, she was a beautiful lady. I loved her. She was a doll. But as far as my father's, his name is David Poe, and that's pretty much all I remember. I don't remember too much about details, but yeah. So put aside my father, he's not in the picture. So this whole time my mom has been raising me. So later on in time, she ends up passing away. She passed away because of bronchitis. So when she passes away, I ended up getting adopted by a lovely lady who is Rosalie, and her husband John Allen. When during the Panic of 1837, my foster mother, had passed away from the same illness, bronchitis, that my mother had passed away from. So at the time of her illness, John Allen was expressing his remorse by parading his mistress while Rosalie was still alive. After her illness took its course, I suppose John decided he would rather entertain his company in peace. So John sent me to attend the University of Virginia in 1827. I was 17 at the time, and I was still very young. John was clever enough to only send me just enough money to get there. But after that, I had absolutely no form of means to survive. And things were turning really bad for me, and I began to heavily drink, and I even got very deep into debt as a young kid. So what I ended up doing was I knew I had to make a wise choice in order to survive. So I joined the army, but I joined under a different name so that the debtors would not find me under the law. So I traveled to Boston and joined the U.S. Army in 1827. It was a tough time, but for someone who wasn't equipped with knowledge of war, I think I did rather well. I received the rank of sergeant major. In 1831, after the army, I ended up going to New York to give writing a shot. So I had a few pieces of works that got published, but most of the stories were rejected by magazine editors. As a writer and poet, you are going to face critics who aren't going to like what you say or will like what you say. But I the negative reviews never really fazed me. I really don't care. I have no interest into the negativity that I hear from other people. Um, Many people seem to like the poem The Bells. I suppose it's because it's more cheerful and not dark like my other stories or poems. Um, there was a point in my life where I felt in the lowest low. I was in a new city. I had no friends or family members to be with, and my money troubles never seemed to go away. So that's when I completely broke down and decided I'm just gonna get in contact with my father, John. So I ended up writing him a letter, and unfortunately, I never got a reply from him. But I ended up finding out that he passed away, and he never even mentioned me in his will. But in 1835, my luck turned around for the better. I ended up landing a job as an editor for a newspaper. During that time, I lived with my aunt Clem and her daughter Virginia. Um, Virginia, she was beautiful. I ended up falling in love with her, and I ended up proposing to her. At that time, I was 27, and she was 14. So, yeah. Um, I later became an editor for the South Literary Messenger. I was rather successful increasing the company's circulation. And I left the paper for the fact that I was being underpaid, and it was quite embarrassing. So I went back to New York. While in New York, I decided that I was going to open up my own magazine business. I named it The Stylist, but my attempts of it was very poor. It ended up being a flop. But so to end this, we can talk about my final years. Unfortunately, I was really depressed because Virginia had passed away, and I ended up be drinking a lot and doing drugs, and I really feel that poetry was my outlet, and that's why I feel like people thought I was really dark, and it's because I was really depressed. And yeah, I mean, this is everything that I've been explaining was my life. My life was just pretty simple. I loved poetry. It was everything to me. It was my outlet. And I really hope you guys enjoyed my story that I shared with you. And thank you. My name is Edgar Allan Poe.